Hello, everyone. Like to say hello. Tonight is our wrap up for the Discover You series that we've been doing. Last week was the last week for the four components. So today, what we're going to do is we're just going to reflect and just kind of go over some of the things that we felt were key takeaways, and just kind of go from there and just talk about how we intend to start walking in our purpose and living our life more intentionally, right? So first, I want to say thank you for coming, because there's so much you could have been doing tonight, but you chose to spend your evening with me. So thank you so much. Hopefully you have drinks. Tonight I have cranberry juice. Remember, I talked about that before. Nobody really likes it, so it's all mine, right? But and if there's anything that you really enjoyed during this series, just let me know inside the chat. First of all, let me know who you are and that you're here watching. And then just let me know what are some key takeaways that you have decided to apply to your life, or some things that you have decided to look at a little bit differently. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hit this ground and start running, right? So the first lesson that we had was, who am I? And in that lesson, we talked about defining ourselves and how we are to look at ourselves more than just the roles that we play, right? We talked about connecting with others and seeing how they view us, because sometimes they see things in us that we don't see, right? And then we were identifying our superpower. Then week 2 came and we were talking about taking time for us, or taking time for you, right? So that you are important too. And we talked about the importance of self-care and how there were 4 different components that made up self-care, right? So you had your mental, you had your emotional, you had your physical, and you had your spiritual. So sometimes we only focus on one thing. Like we might just want to focus on just getting relaxed, or some me time or something like that. But you're a little bit more complex, right? So you have to make sure that you're actually spending that time addressing all those different areas. Then week 3, we talked about breaking free from our limitations, the things that were holding us back. And we also noticed that, yes, we do have some conflicts that we deal with in our work areas, or maybe in our family, or just outside external things. But we also have internal conflict, right? And we realize that sometimes we sabotage our own success. And that could be due to fear, right? Or self-doubt. And we talked about those different components and how to deal with those. And then lastly, last week, we talked about living life aligned with your values. So the week before that, we had identified our non-negotiables, right? And we took it one step further and was like, okay, so what is it that we really value? What is really important to us? And you were to identify 5 things that really matter to you. And then we said that if whatever you're doing is not aligned with those values, then you're not walking in your purpose and you're not being true to yourself, because those are the things that are essential to you, right? So anything that is not connected with that, or that falls outside of that parameter, it should be an automatic no. You're not doing it. You're not focusing on it, because that's not where you are headed, right? Now, your values might change, as time, in different phases of your life, or different things of that sort. But regardless of what your values are, you always want to make sure that whatever it is, your goals, any projects or a job, like if you value freedom and the ability to express yourself, then certain jobs may not be for you, right? Because it might be a little bit more confining. Or if outdoors is something that you love, well, then you don't want a traditional 9-to-5 in the corporate office because you're going to be miserable, right? So we talked about living within those those areas. Now, even though we've been talking about these things each week, the exercises or the things that you need to be doing to take it one step further, so that way you can truly get in tune with yourself. Remember, we said you needed to register and then you do the exercises that's in the course, because this is a course. It's more than just a video. There's work to do. And regardless of whatever goal it is, it's okay to know, but you have to put in the action. Anything that is worth to produce change or anything like that, you have to put in some type of effort into that, right? If you want to make this table move, I have to put in an effort to push it, to make it go. Same thing with your goals. Same things with living in your purpose or walking in your purpose or identifying what's important to you. So hopefully you've been walking through those exercises and getting all that done. If not, remember, it's still available for up to 30 days. And then you can take your time and go back and look at the videos and walk through the exercises and get all the good stuff, right? Because that's where we say all the good stuff is at. So, because I just keep you for 20 minutes. So I'm just doing just the overview. So, what were some things that you felt resonated with you during this time period? Okay. For me, finding time to create a self-care plan. That was one thing, I wanted to do, that I needed to focus on, and just more than just taking care of my health, right? Making sure that I actually attended to the different areas, the 4 different areas that we talked about earlier. My non-negotiables, that was something that was enlightening to me, because when I actually took the time to think about it, the things that I felt that I was no longer going to compromise was a little eye-opening to me. Like, that wasn't something that I really thought that I would be considering a priority, right? And then I also realized that what my priorities were 2 years ago is not really a priority to me right now. So that was good for me to find out too. So then this week, when I was getting ready for this week, I saw this this quote, and I want to read it to you just real quick. And let's see. It's never too late to be who you might have been. It's never too late to be who you might have been. Now let's let that marinate for a moment, okay? The author is unknown. There's a big debate on who actually said that quote. So I'm just going to say unknown, okay? But there are 3 myths that come with that quote, if you think about it. Myth number 1, I'm too old, okay? Because when you say it's never too late, we usually think, oh, we're too old for this, or too much time has gone by and I can't do that anymore, right? I have seen individuals, age is just a number, okay? And it's also a limiting belief that we have that is based on our mindset, which means that it's changeable. And sometimes we look at it, what's that? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know, I know you've heard that quote, before, something like that. The only time that you are too old to make a change, to do something different, is when you're dead, right? Because then it's final. There's no more, let me try again, or let me go try to evolve. I have this quote that I say where I feel that growth is, life is a journey, and we're always constantly growing and evolving. And when we are, the opposite of that is when we're no longer growing and evolving, we're becoming stagnant. And when I think of stagnant, think of like water, right? Stagnant water that has been sitting, it's older, and it collects bacteria and all this other type of stuff. And is dead, right? Anything that is stagnant usually dies because movement is what keeps us going, right? That's the growing and evolving. And until you get to that point, you should always be constantly growing. So you're never too old to make any change, all right? The second myth is I don't have enough money. Now, your funds may not be what you want them to be, right? Because we can always use some more money. I know I can, right? But that should not be what is keeping you from walking in your purpose. Just, you might have to, all right, so my husband is an accountant, right? Oh my gosh. I am not that great with money. So, but he loves budgets and all that type of stuff. And I know budgets are essential because as a project manager, you cannot do a project unless we sit down and look at this budget, right? But when you're talking about a budget and you're trying to apply it to me, it's like, I don't want to hear about the budget. But budgeting is essential because maybe you can find out you can reallocate some of those funds in a different area, which will free up some funds from somewhere else. Or maybe that you're seeing that maybe I just need to get rid of Netflix for 2 months so that way I can apply this over here, right? So it's just kind of reworking your funds and maybe putting some things on hold so that way you can get that long-term gratification, which is what it is that you really want to do, right? So prioritize or whatever it is that you want to focus on for your funds. And then you can always find something here and there. And then although you might be limited by your funds, there's always something you can do that can go towards that purpose. Okay. Myth number 3, I don't have enough time. And that is so crazy that I'm giving this today. And I just said this like 10 minutes ago, like 10, 20 minutes ago. Like, I just had so much to do. I just can't find enough time. Well, Javon, you need to get your stuff together, right? So basically what I need to do is prioritize my time. Sit down. I know what to do. Sit down, create a schedule, stick to the schedule, and do what it is that I need to do, right? Because we always find time to do the things that really matter to us. And basically what it is a form of procrastination, right? Procrastination can be such a goal or success killer. It just crushes your goals because what ends up happening is instead of starting now, you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And more than likely, instead of doing it later down the road, usually you find yourself not doing it at all because there's always something better to do other than that. And what I realized that is if I'm procrastinating that, then that's not really a priority of mine, right? So the key takeaways for tonight, it's only too late to make change if you're dead, right? That's the only time. If there's still breath in your body, there's still time for you to do the things that you wanted to do, right? You might need to structure things a little differently. You might have to reallocate some funds or whatever it is, but it's possible. Prioritize your time, okay? Make time for the things that are important to you. And if you are important to yourself, remember we talked about I am important too, then whatever your goals are or your dreams are, start making that a priority. Start doing something. I like the Kaizen principles. And basically, it's just like 1% better, right? So you're always making improvements. You're always progressing. You're always advancing. And even if it's just 1%, it's 1% further than where you were before, right? And sometimes when you break those things down, it's easier to get from point A to point B. One of my favorite cartoons, Christmas cartoons. Christmas is my favorite holiday. And one of my favorite cartoons is with the they used to have these old cartoons, and they're actually wooden puppets, and they and they were animated. And there's one where like Santa Claus comes to town or something like that, and Mr. Miser, right? And there's a part in there where there's a song that says put one foot in front of the other, right? I almost sung it. Y'all don't want to hear me sing it. So it's put one foot in front of the other, and then soon you'll be walking out the door. I love that. That is like one of my favorite songs. But if you actually think about it, that applies to your goals too, because one step, 1%, one step closer, right? So what I want you to do is reprogram your thoughts, okay? Because your beliefs are what limit you from becoming your best self, right? Take back control of your life, because there's nothing worse than looking back at your life and saying, I should have, I wish I had. Just life of regrets, right? You don't want that. And then stop making excuses and start doing the things that you need to do, right? So I want you to ask yourself tonight, the question for tonight that I want you to ponder on is, what action are you going to take to start living your life that you always dreamt of? Okay. What action are you going to take to start living the life you always dreamt of? Right. So, it's okay to dream it or to have it as an intention, but you got to put in that work, right, to get you from point A to point B. So hopefully this 4 weeks or the previous 4 weeks have been inspirational to you and motivational for you. Hopefully that you have gotten, you've rediscovered yourself, and you got in tune with yourself and figured out what your priorities and your values are. So that way you can take your goals one step further and start living your life the way that you were destined to live, a life of greatness. Okay. So, if you like this week's fireside chat, this part of the fireside chat, and remember we said that the purpose of the fireside chat is literally just that. It's just a chat. It's just a time for us to sit down, talk about life, happiness, and purpose, right? Just whatever it is. So if you have any topics that you want to discuss, then let me know. If you have any questions that you want me to address, let me know, because these weekly fireside chats are just about us. Okay. So, you can always contact me on my social media. I'm at Instagram. I'm on Facebook. So at SPARKNUniversity. Okay. So that's my handle on all social media. You can also leave a comment here at the end of this video if you want to. Just let me know what it is that you want me to address. Or you can visit my website at SPARKNUniversity.com. That's Spark, the letter N, university.com. Okay. So thank you once again for taking the time to spend with me, because there's so much you could have been doing tonight, but you decided to choose me tonight. And I just want to say thank you. And I really appreciate you. Okay. So choose today to start living your life boldly, passionately, and purposefully. Thanks for watching. And I see you all next week. Bye-bye.